Okay, good morning, Prof. Nenden, and good morning, Dr. Fazri. Good morning, my beloved friends at homes. Please allow me to share my critical review of an article entitled Implementation of the New 8th Grade English Language Curriculum from the Perspectives of Teachers and Students. The authors of the article are Ozge, Donmez, Gunal, and Cennet Engin-Demir. They are from Department of Educational Sciences, Middle East Technical University, Ankara, Turkey. And this article is taken from Elsevier Procedia, Social and Behavioral Sciences 47, 2012. This is my outline of presentation. There are three parts of presentation. The first one is introduction. It will cover burning issues, objectives of the review, a brief description of the article, and important findings. The second is general comments. So the first one is comment on abstract, the second on research methodology, the third is on finding discussion, and the last is the comment on conclusion, and the last part is the review. The review will cover analysis, comments, and also my arguments. The first one is about burning issues. So this article aimed to reveal the students' and learners' perspective about the new English curriculum in Turkey that they applied in the 8th grade class. So the curriculum here is the burning issues. Why? Because a curriculum plays a very important role in education of a nation, and curriculum also never stays static, but it is always changed for a better one. This article is talking about the recent changes in educational curriculum for the 8th grade English language in Turkey. Now, here are some objectives of the review. I have three objectives of this review. The first one is, of course, to fulfill one of the assignments in curriculum analysis subject. The second is to gain knowledge about the implementation of the new 8th grade English language curriculum in Turkey, viewed from the teachers' and students' perception. And the third one is to analyze, to give comments, and also to argue on this article. Here is a brief description of the article. So the purpose of this article, as I mentioned before, are to reveal teachers and students' perspective on the implementation of the new 8th grade English language curriculum, or NELC, NELC in Turkey. And the second is to reveal teachers and students' perspective about the challenges they face in the implementation process. The respondents of this study were 10 English language teachers and 73 8th grade students of public primary schools in Polatli, Ankara, Turkey. And the research method is qualitative content analysis. And the instruments there are two instruments. The first one is in-depth interview with the teachers and focus group interviews with 73 8th grade students. And let's talk a little bit about what is actually NELC. NELC. So NELC stands for the New English Language Curriculum, applied in Turkey actually. And This curriculum is an innovative curriculum that is conducted in the primary schools that is theoretically based on learner-centeredness, constructivist approach, multiple intelligence theory. This curriculum also holds constructivist approach. Through constructivist approach, learners are expected to be able to create their own meaning and making connections to the previous knowledge rather than just receiving it from the teachers. And in this curriculum, learners can create their own knowledge by doing, searching, and reasoning, while the teachers are expected to foster learners' interaction, skill training, learner autonomy, critical thinking, and research skill, of course. And in my review, I also wrote a little bit about MONE, MON or Mone 2006 in Turkey. So it is similar, I think, with Depdiknas in Indonesia. Yeah, Depdiknas in Indonesia. So MON is for Ministry of National Education in Turkey, but in Indonesia it is similar with Depdiknas. So now that is suggested in Ministry of National Education, MON 2006, this curriculum uses the alternative or authentic assessment technique such as peer evaluation, self-evaluation, and portfolio. And this curriculum also holds, as I mentioned before, instructional approaches. And this curriculum also focusing on learners' centeredness. This curriculum also applies discovery method or inductive grammar teaching. This curriculum also applies communicative language teaching and task-based instruction in language teaching. And last but not least, this curriculum not only apply the mechanical activities in classroom, but also the meaningful, the communicative and task-based activity, something like games, something like songs, and etc. And next is about the important findings. So since this article only has two purposes, the first one is effective or not effective the implementation of the NELC, and the second is about what challenges the teacher and also the learners face in the implementation process. So the first one from the NELC, whether it is implemented effectively or not, the answer is the NELC was not implemented effectively for some reasons or some factors. Let's see one by one. The first one, teachers' lack of knowledge about the innovation of this curriculum. So this curriculum, teachers don't have insufficient guidance and support provided for them. I mean, they know exactly the NELC, but they don't know how to implement correctly in the classroom. And the second, it's about classroom activities. Most of the students and also the teacher said that the classes are boring, difficult, and the class activities are boring, difficult, and lack of variety, lacking interest, and that is why learners having negative opinion for the English lesson. The third is speaking and pronunciation were considered the least attained skill. The next, learners were less competent in writing and listening skills. That is from teacher's point of view. And the content of NALC is ineffective and inappropriate with the learner's level and interest. And there are still important findings concerning the implementations of the NALC itself, and that is not effective. It's about the themes. The themes in the textbook were irrelevant to the learner's need and interest. So the themes of the themes in the textbooks were irrelevant at all to the learner's need and also their interest. And then traditional assessment techniques such as written exams, quizzes, and tests still be applied in the class. So this one versus alternative assessment techniques. Can you imagine that? So it is not aligned in alternative assessment techniques. And the other one is performance and project task. Well, what about their perspective, a student's perspective on performance and project task? Well, just the same in students in Indonesia or Indonesian students. Learners got help from internet. Yeah, Mr. Google helped them a lot. They got some help from internet, relatives, friend, or even from the classroom teacher. And the teaching activity is still focusing on teacher-centered. And then grammar was taught deductively or directly by formalizing the rules. I think some teachers in Indonesia still do that way, yeah. And the last one, maybe classroom activities, still something like reading aloud, translation, questions, and answer drill. And the second important findings is major challenge faced during the implementation. So I think there are some factors or problems that teachers and also students face during the implementation. The first one is level determination exam. There is no explanation about it in the article, but it was mentioned there. And then the second is lack of gradual implementation of the NALC. The third is lack of support or guidance to the teachers about the implementation of the NALC. So as you still remembered, previously I said that actually the teachers knew about the NALC itself, but they don't know how to implement it. They don't focus on the component or the elements that should be in their teaching. And then the other challenges are lack of necessary materials. So materials were still less. And the last one is insufficient class hours and crowded classes. So it's hindering the effective implementation of the NALC itself. And here are my general comments on abstract. So an abstract is suggested to have 150 words that covering burning or current issues, the purpose of the study, the research method, the findings, the conclusion, and the last one is recommendation. Unfortunately, in this article, the article only has 102 words that covered burning and current issues, the purpose of the study, the research method, and the findings. There was no conclusion, there was no recommendation as well in the abstract. That is my comment on abstract. And then general comments on research methodology. Well, focus group interview with 73 students utilizing semi-structured interview, and in-depth interview with 10 teachers. I think that is okay. It's fine because the number of the students. And then the second is about the content analysis. That is the article or the study conduct the content analysis or qualitative content analysis. I think that is okay because this dealing with the purpose of the study, that is revealing students and teachers' perspective on the curriculum. Unfortunately, the authors didn't mention or didn't elaborate more how they use them in the study. And the third comment on the research methodology is the authors didn't mention how many questions they gave to both respondents, teachers, and learners. So I myself, as the reviewer, as the reviewer of this article, I just group this one belongs to this group and this statement belongs to that group, something like that. And then my general comments on finding and discussion. So the NALC was not implemented effectively by the teachers and learners was not a surprise to me. Why? Because it is not a surprise. It can happen in Indonesia, not only in Turkey, but it can happen also in Indonesia or other nation in this world. Why? Because that is talking about curriculum. Curriculum is something that is changing, that is always changing for a better one. Yeah. And the next is the way the authors wrote the result of the study was not redundant. In terms of directness, they wrote and report anything directly and not redundant. Just the same with the way the authors reported the result of the study was clear enough to me, in my opinion. And then the authors, in reporting the result, always connected it with the other result under the same research topic, that is NELC and ELC, done by different researchers, and connect it also with their national curriculum, which is great in my perspective. And my comment on conclusion. The first is the study used the term implication represents conclusion, and the conclusion is clear enough to me, not redundant as well. There was also suggestion in conclusion. The recommendation was placed in the conclusion, that is opine should be placed in the abstract part. Okay, that was my comments on conclusion. Well, here is my analysis. The first analysis. The new curriculum suggests that education is for understanding. So teacher as the facilitator, process-based, community-based learning, criterion-based learning, and the last is there is more than one solution. It means that the teacher may not know all the answer. I took it from Baki Gokjek 2005 in Yusuf Coach 2007. And the next analysis is about the NELC versus in the 2013 curriculum. So in my opinion, 2013 curriculum in Indonesia is more focused on character building, more religious, and the schools are guided and controlled by the center. But now, no, not at all. But I still find another analysis about some same aspects between the NELC and Indonesian 2013 curriculum. They are similar in holding constructivist approach, of course, because Indonesian curriculum also holds constructivist approach. The second is multi-intelligence theory, or MI, learner-centeredness, the curriculum, or the curricula motivates learner to be more creative, active, autonomous learners, using authentic and alternative assessment technique such as peer evaluation, self-evaluation, and portfolio. And the other analysis, the last one is ineffective implementation of NELC is not a surprise to me. As I mentioned earlier, that it can happen in different country. It can happen in Indonesia, it can happen in USA, and different country in the world. And but the other analysis is about the demerits of 2013 curriculum. The first one is teachers are not involved in the making and developing the curriculum. And the second is many schools still apply the conventional teaching and learning process. And the third is, because of that, it shows that the teachers are not ready yet with the new curriculum. And this is, of course, not in line with NELC in Turkey 2006. I took it from a website, wisatasekolah.com, kekurangan dan kelebihan kurikulum 2013. And this is my last analysis. This is really the last one. What happened to the respondents of the study is also happened in Indonesia. I mean, the influence of the technology such as internet really assisted them, but it didn't assist them to be more independent or become autonomous learners. Yet, in fact, made them depend on the internet itself. Even it got worse when the teacher must assist them in finish the project. What a pity. And again, this is not in line with the NELC or NELC as well as the 2013 curriculum. That's all the analysis. And this is my comments. So I only have one comment. Both the NELC, the new English language curriculum, and the Indonesian 2013 curriculum are great curriculum. It is not about how great a curriculum is, but it is about how to implement it correctly or not. And well, the arguments, I have some arguments on this article. The first one is those great curricula, I mean NELC and also 2013 curriculum. Those great curricula could be implemented successfully and effectively if both teachers and students really comprehend the way of how to implement it correctly. The second, the stakeholders such as government should pay attention also to the teachers by giving training, holding workshop about the curricula. The third, the textbooks should be fitted to the context in the area or place where the learners live. For example, let me put in this way. For example, when the material is about the train, is about transportation, and very specifically about the train, I wonder if students in Ambon probably they will get difficulty when they have to imagine what is the train, how does it look like. but it's very different with students in Jakarta. They will easier understand how the train looks like. And the next is teachers should be involved in making, designing, creating, and developing a curriculum. So if those curricula suggest the teachers to assess the learner's achievement by using the authentic and alternative assessment techniques, the teachers are expected to be able to really understand, to really know how to deal with them. And well, that's all. Thank you so much. If you friends have any questions, you may text to me via WhatsApp group, and I'll try to answer my best to you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.